Welcome to Short Economics. Today we will discuss on microeconomics, its importance and limitations. When we look upon economics, we can see that there are two different approaches are there in economics. Those are microeconomics and macroeconomics. You might be familiar with that. The term microeconomics and macroeconomics were first used by Ragnar Frisch. So he's a Nobel Prize laureate. So he's the one who used the term microeconomics and macroeconomics for the first time. So generally microeconomics considered as a traditional approach to study economics. Microeconomics, it's a traditional approach. On the other hand, macroeconomics is considered as the modern approach to study economics. So micro is a traditional approach and macro is a modern approach. David Ricardo, Alfred Marshall, A.C. Pigou, etc. These economists gave a strong base to microeconomics. On the other side, macroeconomics became popular after the publication of J.M. Keynes' a great book, General Theory of Employment, Interest and Money, in 1936. So he is considered, or John Maynard Keynes considered as the father of macroeconomics, modern macroeconomics. Uh, Microeconomics. The term micro actually derived from the Greek word micros. Okay, micros means a small or a tiny. Under the microeconomics, we generally consider one individual consumer, a single firm, or individual prices, wages, income, etc. in microeconomics. In other words, we can say that it is like looking at the economy with the support or through a microscope. It is looking at the economy through a microscope. So, microeconomics consider only individual units, that you have to remember. So when we look upon the microeconomics, it consider only individual units. So that's why Professor Manson call it as microeconomic as atomistic individualistic approach. So it says that Manson says that microeconomics is atomistic and individualistic approach. Thus, microeconomics does not consider economy as a whole. Okay, so macroeconomics consider economy as a whole, but microeconomics do not consider economy as a whole. It consider the individual economic unit. Okay, under the microeconomics, instead of maybe for an under the microeconomics, instead of considering the forest as a whole, various components of the forest are considered. At the same time, microeconomics tries to attempt three fundamental questions. Okay, those three fundamental questions are: what goods shall be produced, how they shall be produced, and for whom they shall be produced. So microeconomics tries to give answer to these three fundamental questions. Now we have to consider the importance and limitations of microeconomics. Okay, microeconomics has a great practical significance. It is very essential for the functioning of the economy. So with the help of the microeconomic approach, we can understand the working of the complicated economic system very easily. Then microeconomics provide required for the formulation of economic policies. That means the authorities can make use of the microeconomics whenever they are formulating our policies, economic policies. The policies formulated on the basis of microeconomic study generally considered as more effective and very meaningful. At the same time, microeconomics is a great help to examine the conditions of the economic welfare. So with the help of the microeconomics, we can understand the standard of living of the people and their living conditions, welfare level, and the satisfaction level, and the other welfare areas is as well. Human wants are unlimited, but resources are limited. So, in this situation, microeconomics is very useful because it allocates the scarce productive resources among different users. Okay, it facilitates efficient allocation and uses of resources. At the same time, microeconomics is very useful in formulation of various economic theories and to make generalizations. Okay, the economic theorist must have a proper knowledge of microeconomics. Okay, in order to formulate a useful microeconomic theories. So these are the importance of microeconomics. Microeconomics has a certain limitations also. The first one is unrealistic assumption. Okay, so in microeconomic, we can see that there are many unrealistic assumptions are there, like full employment or perfect competition, laissez-faire policy, etc. So we know that these assumptions like full employment, perfect competition, laissez-faire, it is not real at all. It is not possible in real life. So we can say that microeconomic has a certain unrealistic assumption. So that is one of the main limitation of the microeconomics. And at the same time, on the other side, microeconomics sometimes misleading also. It is because uh, what is true of an individual may not be true in the case of the economy. So the generalization made on the basis of micro study sometimes lead to a wrong conclusion. So that's why we say that sometimes microeconomics mislead. Okay, the mislead the people. Then the other one is microeconomics is not giving a clear picture. So the main reason is that microeconomic approach will not give a clear picture of the economy. It is because of the fact that it will not deal with the economy as a whole. So that is why the microeconomic is not giving a clear picture. Then the last limitation of the microeconomics is it has a limited scope. Okay, it is because it appears adequate to explain the behavior of the economy by looking upon the individuals. So that's why it has a limited scope. So we have seen many limitations of the microeconomics. In spite of all these limitations, this microeconomics is very useful to understand the working of the economic system. Since more microeconomics tells about the allocation of goods and resources among the different users, it is also called as the price theory. So that means microeconomics also known as price theory also. I hope it is very clear about the microeconomics. If you have any doubt regarding this topic, you can comment it. Okay. So thank you for listening. Short Economics.